So I was admitted into the psych ward in Prince Albert. I would say probably there was when I heard about God more and more. There was a guy that had walked around with a Bible, and he was a preacher, and he was talking about God with me, and the people talked about God, and I asked them, I said, can I please get a Bible so I could read it? And it was always like, no. They said, no, you can't get a Bible, because the reason why they said this was because people are not right in the head, and they won't want to give them Bibles, and it's just they think it makes it worse or something. I don't know. I didn't get a Bible, and I was in and out there for like 3 years, coming into Prince Albert like every month for appointments, and I had to do blood work every week or every 2 weeks, I think. Like, you can still see my vein, it almost collapsed. I guess I just lived in depression for all those years. Like at age 21, I lived in a lot of depression. I lived in a dark place. I just stayed home. I watched Japanese anime shows and stuff, and other cartoons. And a lot of the anime I watched was like, I guess it just distracted me. That's all it was just a distraction. And I played a lot of video games too, another distraction. I quit drinking, I quit weed, because after going to the hospital because of weed, triggered they called it, I had schizophrenia. That's what they called it. And I think it was schizophrenia. And if you smoke marijuana while you are schizophrenic, then it can trigger that schizophrenia. So I quit weed after that. Alcohol, I drank a little alcohol here and there, but then I quit. Fast forward to age 25. This is when it all began. At age 25, I wanted to learn Spanish. So I tried to learn Spanish online, and I was doing well with Spanish. I learned how to count to 100, how to introduce yourself, all the colors and stuff, and just some words, common words. And now my Spanish wouldn't be good because I don't learn it. And then I went on this app that connects you with other native speakers of the language, of the target language you want to learn. And I connected with a girl from Ontario. She's the one that shared the gospel with me, and she knew Spanish. She was a Latina, but she is Canadian too. So her parents lived in Canada. She taught me how to speak Spanish a little bit, and then she started talking about Jesus. And this was probably the first time I've heard the gospel in this way. She shared the gospel with me, and it started to get me thinking. And she shared YouTube videos with me, and I started getting more curious about Christianity, about if it's the truth or not. I know what I had to do. I know that it says in the Bible that you confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord, and you believe in your heart that God has raised him from the dead, you will be saved. I used to get anxious when I think about what's going to happen in the future. And I always carried a lot of anxiety in my heart and a lot of heaviness on me. It's just like a weight that you just carry around. So on that day, when I just got on my knees in my room, I was alone, and I called out to Jesus, and I said, Jesus, I believe that you are a Lord. I believe that you died for my sins and that you were raised from the dead. And just please help me. I started, I want to say this is like a panic attack or something, but I started going into a panic attack. My heart was beating very fast, and my chest started feeling funny in a way I never felt. It was kind of overwhelming, but But at that moment, it made me cling more onto God. It made me cling more onto Jesus and just call out his name even more, with even more sincerity. And I said, Jesus, help me. Free me of this feeling. And in that moment, everything just dissipated. When I felt his grace upon me, it just, my chest went very, like, it felt like a weight was lifted off my chest. And it was just this peace and warmth that I've never felt before. And it's hard to describe or to remember. Like right now, sometimes I do feel a peace and warmth whenever we're praying or reading the Bible, you know, just engaging with God. I knew then and there that I was physically forgiven at that moment, that I was a child of God from then on. And this pastor just preached on that, and he said, if you're living a life of carnality, if you're living a life of sin, and you call yourself a Christian, you should be afraid. I started bawling, I started crying my eyes out,